All right, welcome on in. Utah Blockcast live stream recapping the crazy, wild, improbable, just mind-blowing 51 47 win for Utah over Kansas State. We got footballs being kicked at us. It's a great time. We just had a great little chat with the Dampiers and that family, the whole gang. Shout out to the Dampiers. Appreciate you guys so much.
President
Randall. Man, what a surreal game. It's been a lot of fun post game. I think the vibes are high because man, they were pretty down for a while there.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're funneling down to the field for post game happenings, and you could see people just pouring out of Rice Eccles when there's still 8 minutes of game clock, not quite over, but felt like it might be over. And a lot of people left, and a lot of people stayed.
Yeah.
And shout out to the ones that stayed because they were loud and made a difference down the stretch, especially when defense needs some noise and some juice to make a stop. Yeah,
big time. Still cold, still really cold. It's a bit nippy, but no, this was a great game. And for the fans that stuck around, obviously, look, you get it, right? You're down 2 scores. It's fourth quarter. You understand fans that left. This isn't to criticize them, but the fans that stuck around, Kyle Whittingham, I think, put it best in his post-game presser. They were, that was a special treat for those fans that hung around. I don't know that I've seen a game where, what did they say the win probability was for Kansas State?
97%.
97% win probability for K-State. And some of the most improbable things we've seen, a 2-point conversion taken the other way.
100-something yards.
100-something yards by Teo Johnson.
We saw Teo, did we not?
Yes, we saw Teo.
Quickly asked the question, hey, when did you know you were taking that all the way back? And he said as soon as he caught the ball. So shout out Teo. Game-changing play, honestly. Made everything feel a lot more manageable, and I think that allowed Utah to dig their heels in and get it done.
Yeah, and what was interesting is, Kyle Whittingham said some things to characterize this team. He talked about the guts, the toughness, the physicality, the never die attitude, and I thought that tonight's game was a perfect embodiment of the qualities, the traits, and characteristics that Kyle Whittingham has always preached throughout his career. You can go back to press conferences in 2010. Before that, he's always talking about toughness, guts, and physicality and that never die attitude. And that's what we saw tonight. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was a perfect embodiment for perhaps Kyle Whittingham's last game as the head coach at Rice Eccles Stadium.
Yeah, it was kind of like Rocky when he's standing there and he's just dying. He's just like, Adrian! This team just got, hammered all night long, and when it really mattered was able to make that stop. So the defense, making the stop when it needed to, getting the 2 stops that it needed to.
Yeah.
Big. Real big.
Yeah, big stops. I thought that was, where would you say you felt the momentum start to shift? Was it that 2-point conversion, getting that?
It
you
was.
Called it in real time.
It was. When that came back, I leaned over to Bartle and I said, you got to deal with a little bit of optimism, but this game is right there, right now. And, a lot of that's like just that don't stop believing. But I wasn't the most confident person in the building tonight. We want that kid that was standing right behind us.
How about that game, Sly?
Don't you just love some Utah football? Man,
that was great, dude.
Oh,
that was great.
I'll take it.
Yeah, man.
Win big.
Hey, man, brother.
Take it.
See you, Sly. Oh, man, appreciate Sly.
That was the moment. The kid behind us singing, I believe that we will win over and over again, trying to get us in. We're not allowed to, but we kind of wanted to because his energy was contagious.
Shout out to the kid. The kid up there in the front. Man, he was willing this team to. He was willing everybody around him to believe in the final 7 minutes that Utah was somehow going to find a way to win. So shout out to that kid. You know who you are. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
Big podcast fan.
Big podcast guy. We'll try to get him on the pod. But man, no, I think that 2-point conversion, you called it in real time that was a play that really was big for Utah's chances at a win. And then to not, because you get the 2 points and then you get the ball back, right? You get the ball, and for Utah to go down, get that touchdown, right? It all came down to the Utah defense getting the stop, the one stop that they needed all game to erase not all of the pain that was suffered throughout the game by Utah fans, but a lot of it.
Yes. I mean, it's that teed everything up. When the offense gets on the field, felt a little slow at times, like trying to get down the field, felt like, take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that, kind of methodical down the field, sitting there wondering like where the urgency was and stuff, but ultimately they got it down there, and there was about 3 minutes and change on the clock.
Like that. So they took over with 7 minutes left, worked their way down the field, and it was probably, I think, right around 3 minutes that they got the touchdown. I think it was like 2:47 or 2:55, something like that, but it was sub 3 minutes.
And then all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout.
Yeah, not a 2-minute warning. That's the NFL's thing. It's not the college thing. 2-minute timeout.
Don't make anything easy on
But
that's what did it, And when the offense went down and scored, and Utah's kicking the ball back off down 3, just kind of felt like Utah might be able to find an answer. And then leads off with the Logan Fano sack.
Yeah.
Awesome to see Logan get home. Creates a ton of pressure. A lot of times with flush quarterbacks out, it's the other side to create pressure and feed maybe to a guy like JHD. So Logan bringing Avery down himself, that kind of got that drives, that defensive stand started, got them behind the chains early, and that was really good. And then Lander, how about that? Senior night at home to get that game, legacy guy. The Barton family is huge for Utah. For him to kind of put that on it, that was really cool to see.
I thought it was really kind of symbolic of this year and of this season and what these two guys have meant for Utah this season, with Devin Dampier and Lander Barton coming up with the big plays in the final minutes. Dev getting the 59-yard run to get it down to the 1-yard line with about a minute left, right? First and goal, Utah, automatic. Automatic. It was just a matter of how much time were they going to get off the clock between the time they snapped the ball and punched it into the end zone. They got it to third down. They milked some clock, but I thought, for Lander to get the interception, he's been a guy that, he's hasn't maybe lived up to expectations of people outside the program. His role and his contributions are so much more meaningful for everybody else inside that program. He is the emotional force. He is the leader. He is a captain in so many ways. And for him to make that play, to get the interception, to seal the game, I think was huge for him. And for Dev, obviously with everything going on with the quarterback situation with Dev and Bird, Dev didn't have maybe his cleanest performance throwing the ball, but that second half, he came up big time and time again. And for him to finish, the game, he finished with 259 yards throwing, 94 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, just an overall dynamic performance by him, particularly in that second half. Just, again, a lot of guts, a lot of toughness, and a lot of that never die attitude in those two.
The clutch by Dev down the stretch was phenomenal. Honestly, nails when it needed to be. I can't wait to watch that throw to Simmons in that corner of the end zone. I can't wait to watch that.
We were down on the field. Yeah. It didn't have the best view, but it happened on our side of where we were. We saw it down the side, like down the field, and it was impressive.
Really good. And great catch by Simmons too. But Dampier, had a tougher game, but got better as the night went on, and when it mattered, nothing else mattered.
Yeah,
he was what he needed to be, and credit to him for finding the big plays in those big moments, because without him, the conversation tonight and the field tonight is totally different.
Yeah, and look, obviously there are issues that need to be worked out, and Kyle Whittingham, made it clear that at halftime he got after everybody but especially the coaches for not having his guys fully ready to go on that defensive side of the ball. At halftime, they gave up 348 yards on the ground to Kansas State. I was sitting next to Furlong, and we were going through the game logs. We got all the way back to 2003. New Mexico, 407 yards in total in a game. 348 yards at half. A brutal performance by the defense. But you get in the second half, you make some plays, and you found a way to win. You willed your way to victory. And, obviously we've become accustomed to winning and dominating and having that comfortable margin over the last month, right? But you've got to find a way to get these types of wins. When things aren't necessarily going your way, you've got to find a way to win, and that's exactly what Utah did tonight.
Yeah, no, definitely good to get that battle test. I know it's late in the season, but you might need to play in a close one. You might, just checked on a score in Cincinnati that's tied at 7. If Utah goes and plays against Texas Tech could jump out on you quickly, and if you got to find yourself in a situation, you got to come from behind. Having a win like tonight gives you that confidence, whereas before it's just like Utah just jumps on top of teams and just gets out to the races. So
yeah, big time. And I think another important dynamic that Utah had to overcome, two injuries today that I think really are really hurtful for Utah. John Henry Daly, we all off the field. Haven't heard anything specific on him, but he was in a boot. And obviously the defensive ends, you already mentioned Logan Fano stepping up, getting a sack. The defensive ends had to step up in his place. We'll wait to see what happens, what happened to John Henry Daly. Ryan Davis was noticeably absent from the game as well. Unfortunately, I've heard that it's a pretty significant injury. I don't know if it's a non-contact injury, but it's pretty significant, and so I think unfortunately Ryan Davis will be out. But what we saw in his place, Creed Whittemore stepping up, Larry Simmons caught the touchdown, had a couple other grabs. So others have stepped up tonight to kind of help with that. J.J. Buchanan had a couple of big plays, and I think that's going to be really important because obviously we know what Ryan Davis has meant to Devin Dampier, but you can tell these guys, given the opportunities, they can make some plays.
Yeah, and he was finding some comfort with some of his other guys, and that might be good for Damp too. To not have that Mr. Reliable. Having to look other places, that might expand his palette, if you will.
Yeah, his role, his opportunities, all of those things. I think the way that these guys performed. Speaking of Creed Whittemore and Larry Simmons, these guys made clutch catches, clutch plays. And with what we saw a couple weeks ago from Creed getting into the end zone, Kyle talked about that in his post game then that, he probably earned some more opportunity. Have to expect that with the way that those guys performed tonight, that they'll see more opportunities as well. So, good on those guys to step up and make the plays for Utah. Wayshawn Parker had to grind for this one, but he still hit triple digits.
4 in a row now.
4 in a row. He adds another 100-burger to his total, and certainly a good night for him. It felt like he was so close to breaking one loose in that second half a couple times, and we'll see. But yeah, just overall, again, just a crazy win. We were on the sideline for the final 7 minutes, and watching that in front of us from a field perspective, it was just it was crazy to see the Rice Eccles crowd. Again, we talked about it to open up, but people left, understandably so. You're down 2 scores midway through the fourth. You understand, but there were a lot of fans that hung around, and again, Utah delivered a pretty special victory tonight for the fans that hung around. So, just crazy outing, crazy game, and again, these are the types of games that you just have to figure out a way to win.
Absolutely, just win. That's really all that matters at the end of the day. Style points this, style points that. I think Utah's margin of victory on the season still like 50 points on average or something like that. good, grind it out win. A lot of heart, a lot of grit shown tonight. Good to see the seniors get one final win in Rice Eccles. Good to end the season on a 5-game winning streak at home.
Yeah.
Got another one next week, short week, play against Kansas, but we're still having fun in November.
Still, and that's the thing, right? We're having fun, right? You remember the struggle that it was last year, 7-game losing streak. It was rough. It was tough times, and I think this season has delivered a lot of fun, a lot of exhilarating moments, and these are the types of games, these are the types of moments that help you build, positive momentum, especially as you inch closer to the off season, and I think that's going to be really helpful for Utah moving forward. So again, just to recap, just an incredible comeback for Utah. Kansas State had a 97% win probability according to ESPN. They make the plays late in the game. Devin Dampier, Lander Barton, the two leaders of this of the two units, making the plays, stepping up in a big way. Couple injuries for Utah: John Henry Daly, Ryan Davis. They sound pretty serious for both of them, but guys stepped up in their place, and yeah, they get the win tonight, 51-47. I think this is the first single-digit score victory for Utah this season, right? I don't think they've had another single-digit victory. So
They've all been
week 13. Get you squeak one out that late in this. Other programs squeaking out a lot more throughout the year. Oh, and shout out to Chili Dog U. Shout out to the boys for Chili Dog U. Great outing by the boys at the tailgate, and just had a lot of fun up there before the game as well. So appreciate everybody that tuned in. We'll go ahead and wrap this one up. Man, looking forward to rewatching this game. Just an incredible game. It wasn't necessarily USC Utah back in 2022. But man, it was close. It was pretty special in those final minutes. So appreciate everybody. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Utah can win in shootouts.
Yeah.
That's it. Keep having fun, everybody.